the forest of flying cats. In the heart of an ancient forest, deep where few dare tread, lies a place unlike any other. Known to the locals as the Forest of Flying Cats, this mystical woodland is home to creatures so marvelous and strange that tales of their existence seem little more than whispered myth. Yet, for those fortunate enough to witness it, the Forest of Flying Cats is real, and it brims with magic. The forest stretches wide, filled with towering trees that reach high into the mist. Their branches twist and bend, some as thick as bridges, creating a sprawling canopy under which little sunlight reaches the ground. Here, enormous nests of woven vines and moss rest within the highest branches, serving as homes to the forest's most unique inhabitants, the winged cats. These creatures are both familiar and alien. With sleek, feline bodies and the piercing eyes of earthly cats, they resemble the house pets one might find by a hearth, yet their bodies are adorned with feathers and wings as grand as those of falcons. Their fur is thick and fluffy, often blending with the colors of the forest itself. Some have wings in shimmering shades of emerald and silver, while others possess plumage of midnight blue or starlit white, making them nearly invisible under moonlight. The forest's oldest and largest tree is known as the elder elm. Rising like a watchtower above the canopy, it houses the ruling family of the flying cats, known as the starfeather line. These majestic felines are said to be as old as the forest itself, blessed with wisdom and foresight passed down through countless generations. The current matriarch, a grand silver cat with sapphire eyes named Lyra, rules with a gentle but firm paw. Her wings, wider than those of any other, have feathers tipped in a radiant silver glow, making her appear like a comet streaking through the night when she flies. Beside her is her eldest daughter, a proud young cat named Myra, who is rumored to be able to navigate by starlight alone. Every night, the forest awakens with a symphony of gentle wingbeats and soft, melodic purring. The winged cats emerge from their nests, taking flight to hunt, play, and interact with one another. They glide soundlessly through the air, their eyes gleaming with keen intelligence. They are agile and precise, weaving through branches and darting past leaves with uncanny skill. During these flights, they hunt their favorite prey, glow beetles, which illuminate the forest in a soft green light as they flicker through the shadows. The cats are not the only magical creatures here. Glow beetles are said to be drawn to the forest's magical energy, and they themselves have powers of protection, keeping the forest safe from any outsiders with ill intent. Those who wish harm upon the forest are often lured away by trails of glowing lights or sent into deep sleeps before they can enter. The cats have a symbiotic relationship with these creatures, and many say that without the glow beetles, the forest would lose its enchantment. One night, as a full moon hung heavy in the sky, Myra, the daughter of Lyra, noticed a strange shimmer near the edge of the forest. Being both curious and brave, she flew to investigate. There, she found a small human child, lost and afraid, huddling by a tree trunk. The child's eyes were wide with fear, but they softened as they beheld Myra, awestruck by her shimmering wings. Myra sensed that the child meant no harm and was, in fact, in desperate need of guidance. With gentle chirps and a flutter of her wings, Myra led the child deeper into the forest, toward the elder elm. There, Lyra, the matriarch, awaited them, having sensed the child's approach long before. As the child stood beneath the towering branches of the elder elm, Lyra approached with regal grace, her silver-tipped feathers glinting in the moonlight. She touched the child's cheek with a soft paw, and instantly, the child felt a warmth, a reassurance that they were safe. For a month's cycle, the child lived among the winged cats. They were taught the ways of the forest, learning to gather berries, to sing with the birds, and to listen to the wisdom of the trees. The child became friends with Myra, who showed them the art of silent movement and taught them how to spot glow beetles among the shadows. Other young winged cats joined them in their games, and soon, the child was seen as one of their own. But, eventually, it was time for the child to return to the human world. With a heavy heart, Myra guided her friend to the edge of the forest, where the sunlight began to break through the misty trees. The child looked back, gazing longingly at the hidden world they had come to love. Myra placed a soft paw on the child's hand, a final gesture of farewell, and with a gentle nudge, the child was on their way. Years passed, and the child grew up, but the memory of the forest of flying cats remained vivid. They often told stories of the winged cats, of the glow beetles, and of the beautiful, regal matriarch Lyra and her daughter Myra. Most dismissed the tales as fanciful, as merely a child's imagination. But those who listened carefully could sometimes catch a glimpse of a flash of wings in the sky at twilight or hear the faintest echo of purring laughter in the breeze. And so, the forest of flying cats remained a well-kept secret, preserved for those who truly needed its magic. Hidden among the ancient trees, under the vigilant watch of Lyra and her descendants, it lived on, a sanctuary for the strange and wondrous, where cats flew and dreams came alive beneath the stars. The seasons turned, and the child grew into a young adult, but their heart still longed for the magic of the forest of flying cats. The everyday world was so ordinary in comparison, no silver-tipped wings flashing in the moonlight, no soft hum of glow beetles trailing through the trees. Sometimes, on quiet nights, they would close their eyes and hear the faint echo of Myra's purring laugh or recall the gentle nudge of Lyra's paw. And as the years passed, a quiet longing turned into an unshakable determination. One autumn night, under the light of a crescent moon, the young adult, now called by their new name, Rowan, felt a powerful pull within them. It was almost as if the stars themselves were calling them back to the enchanted forest. The feeling was stronger than memory, a silent song stirring within, urging them to return. Rowan followed that pull through the night, navigating the familiar woods that lay between their world and the hidden forest. It had been many years, and the trails had changed, but somehow Rowan knew exactly where to go. They moved silently, their senses heightened, as if the forest remembered them too and was guiding them along. Soon enough, they found themselves before the towering trees at the edge of the forest of flying cats. As Rowan stepped past the invisible boundary, a warm gust of wind brushed over them, carrying the scent of moss, wildflowers, and something else, something shimmering and full of life. They were home. The forest was alive with gentle wingbeats as the cats flew from tree to tree, weaving patterns through the branches. Their fur glowed under the moonlight, and Rowan could see that many of the younger cats were new, born since their last visit. But one face among them was familiar, Myra, who now wore the unmistakable air of a leader. Her feathers had taken on a deeper, iridescent blue, and her movements were graceful and assured. The sight of her filled Rowan with joy, but they also sensed a faint worry in her gaze. When Myra spotted Rowan, her eyes lit up, and she darted toward them with a powerful stroke of her wings, landing in front of them and letting out a purr that was both delighted and relieved. "Rowan," she murmured, her voice warm yet cautious. "I didn't think you'd return. So much has changed here, and we could use your help." Rowan's heart skipped a beat. "What's happened?" Myra hesitated, glancing back toward the depths of the forest. "The glow beetles, they're leaving." Rowan's breath caught. "Leaving? Why?" "No one knows," Myra replied, a flicker of worry in her gaze. "They started to disappear a few moons ago. At first, we thought it was natural, but it's only gotten worse. Without their glow, the forest has begun to dim. The trees are weakened, and there's been talk of shadows creeping in from beyond the edge of the forest. I'm afraid that if they leave entirely, we may not be able to protect this place." Rowan listened, their heart heavy with worry. The glow beetles were not just a beautiful presence, they were guardians, sustaining the forest's delicate magic. If they were leaving, something serious was at play. Without them, the forest's magic would unravel, and the flying cats would be left vulnerable to any number of dark forces. "Is Lyra still the matriarch?" Rowan asked, their voice barely a whisper. Myra's ears drooped, and her wings sagged slightly. "She passed the mantle to me last year," she said, her voice tinged with sadness. "But she left me something for you, in case you ever returned." Myra led Rowan to the heart of the forest, where the elder elm towered, its ancient branches casting protective shadows over the ground. In a small hollow within the roots of the great tree, Myra carefully lifted out an object wrapped in leaves. It was an old, ornate lantern carved from a silvery wood and decorated with runes that seemed to pulse faintly with energy. Rowan recognized it from their time with Lyra. "This is the star lantern," Myra said, her voice reverent. "Lyra told me it was a gift from the first of the glow beetles. She believed that if the glow beetles ever left, the star lantern could help light our way to find them." Rowan took the lantern with trembling hands. A wave of warmth surged through them as they held it, and the runes began to glow brighter. "But how does it work?" they asked, looking into Myra's luminous eyes. Myra brushed her tail against the lantern. "It's said that when the one who carries it walks into the heart of the forest, the lantern will reveal the path. I cannot go beyond the elder elm, as I am bound to this tree. But you, Rowan, you're not bound here. You may be the only one who can save the forest." Rowan's resolve hardened. They looked around at the younger winged cats perched in the branches, their eyes wide with hope, and they knew there was no turning back. Holding the star lantern before them, Rowan took a deep breath and ventured deeper into the forest, guided by the lantern's soft glow. The forest grew darker, the trees more twisted, and a chill filled the air. Strange sounds echoed around them, whispers and the faint skittering of unseen creatures. But the star lantern's light held steady, and Rowan pressed forward, trusting in its magic. Finally, they reached a clearing at the heart of the forest. The ground was covered in silver dust, and an enormous hollow tree stood in the center. Inside the hollow, Rowan saw something astonishing, a vast cluster of glow beetles, shining as if they were stars caught in branches. Rowan stepped forward, heart pounding. "Why have you left the forest?" they asked softly. From within the cluster, a single glow beetle separated itself. It hovered before Rowan, flickering gently. "The forest has lost balance," it whispered in a voice like wind through leaves. "Something beyond its borders is drawing on its magic, draining the life from its roots." Rowan's gaze hardened. "What can I do to help restore the balance?" The glow beetle circled Rowan's head before settling on their shoulder. "The star lantern will guide you to the source of the darkness. Follow it, and bring the forest's light back. If you succeed, we will return." Rowan nodded, their determination set. The glow beetle offered one last flicker of light, then returned to its cluster. Clutching the star lantern tightly, Rowan left the clearing, guided by a new light that had appeared within the lantern. The path wound through the heart of the forest and out toward the human lands. With every step, Rowan felt the pull of the forest's magic, urging them forward. Eventually, they reached an abandoned well, overgrown and dark. The star lantern's light pointed downward, revealing the darkness within. Rowan took a deep breath and descended. Deep in the well's hidden caverns, they found a dark, twisted root, the source of the draining magic. Using the star lantern, they carefully severed the root, releasing a burst of light that surged back through the forest, illuminating it with renewed energy. The journey back was easier, and when Rowan returned, they found the forest vibrant with life once more. The glow beetles had returned, their light dancing among the trees. Myra greeted Rowan with a joyful purr, and the younger cats gathered around, their eyes filled with gratitude. The forest of flying cats had been saved, its magic restored, and Rowan knew that their connection to this enchanted place would remain forever. As they stood under the branches of the elder elm, watching the cats soar through the air, Rowan felt the joy of knowing they had preserved a place of wonder, and found a home within it once more. Rowan became a cherished figure in the forest of flying cats, their bravery now woven into the stories told by the youngest winged kittens as they lay nestled in their nests. With each passing day, Rowan grew more deeply connected to the forest and its ancient rhythms, learning its secrets and becoming, in many ways, a guardian of its magic. They felt at home among the great trees and the chorus of gentle wingbits, their heart intertwined with the life of the forest. One evening, Myra invited Rowan to a secluded glade known as the Moonlight Grove, a place deep within the forest where only the oldest and wisest of cats were allowed. Myra had recently taken on more responsibilities, bearing the full weight of her role as matriarch after Lyra's passing. Yet she looked at Rowan with warmth and friendship, grateful for the presence of someone who understood the challenges that lay before her. Rowan, Myra began, settling beside them on a moss-covered stone. Her feathers shimmered softly under the glow of the rising moon. "There's something I've wanted to show you, something that even most of the forest's guardians don't know." With a flick of her tail, Myra led Rowan to the edge of the grove, where an old stone staircase wound down into the earth. They descended together, Rowan carrying the star lantern as they entered a cavern draped in glowing vines. The air was heavy with magic, the walls adorned with the faint, pulsing light of ancient glyphs. Myra motioned toward the far end of the cavern, where a silver lake shimmered beneath an opening to the sky. "This," Myra said softly, "is the Pool of Secrets. It's where the first glow beetles were born, and where the forest's magic began." Rowan felt a shiver of awe as they gazed into the pool. Silvery light rippled across its surface, revealing images flickering like reflections of memories. Faces of ancient guardians, both feline and human, appeared and faded, each one leaving a trace of wisdom behind. Myra lowered her gaze to the pool, her expression somber. "The pool shows those who seek to protect the forest, but it also reveals the shadows that lie beyond. There is a dark force that's been stirring at the farthest edges of our realm, and I believe it's connected to the root you severed from the well." Rowan's eyes narrowed. "What sort of dark force?" Myra's feathers quivered slightly. "They are known as the Nightborn. They are spirits of shadow, bound to places of decay and ruin. Long ago, they were drawn to the forests where magic thrived, but our ancestors fought to protect this place. For centuries, the Nightborn were held back by the glow beetles, whose light has the power to repel them. But now, with the forest's magic so recently restored, I fear the Nightborn are gathering their strength once more." Rowan clenched their fists. "Then we must prepare. How can I help?" Myra's eyes softened, filled with a mixture of gratitude and sorrow. "There is one thing we can do, but it will not be easy. The Nightborn are creatures of shadow, but they are vulnerable to light, particularly the light of stardust, which flows through this very pool." With a solemn expression, Myra extended her paw toward the surface of the pool. "If you dip the star lantern into the Pool of Secrets, it will absorb the power of stardust. The lantern will become a weapon against the Nightborn, but you must be willing to wield it in places where shadows are deepest. Rowan nodded without hesitation. If it means protecting the forest, I'll do whatever it takes. Myra pressed her nose to Rowan's forehead in a gesture of affection and gratitude. With steady hands, Rowan dipped the star lantern into the pool. As it touched the water, the lantern began to pulse with an intense light, brighter than they had ever seen. The runes along its edges glowed like tiny constellations, each one a fragment of the ancient wisdom embedded in the forest's history. When Rowan lifted the lantern, it shone with the pure light of stardust, casting a warm glow over the cavern. Myra's expression softened into a smile. "Be careful, Rowan," she murmured. "The Nightborn will sense the light of the stardust. They will be drawn to it, but it will also be their undoing." With a final nod, Rowan left the cavern, carrying the stardust-infused lantern close to their chest. Myra had instructed them to begin their patrol along the eastern border of the forest, where the shadows seemed to linger longer and deeper, as though watching from the periphery. As Rowan walked, the familiar forest took on an eerie quality. The trees seemed darker, and the air grew thick with the scent of damp earth and something colder, more sinister. They held the star lantern high, letting its glow cast protective circles around them. It wasn't long before they noticed subtle movements in the shadows, an unnatural stillness pressing in on all sides. And then, as if drawn by an unseen force, figures began to emerge from the darkness. The Nightborn were unlike anything Rowan had ever seen. Their forms were wisps of inky smoke, shifting and pulsing, their eyes like small, hollow voids that swallowed up the light. They moved with a fluidity that was almost hypnotic, each one silently closing in on Rowan's circle of light. For a moment, fear took hold of Rowan. The darkness around them felt vast and insurmountable, as though it were trying to swallow them whole. But as they gripped the star lantern, a sense of strength filled them. With a determined breath, Rowan raised the lantern high, and its stardust-infused light blazed outward, cutting through the shadows. The Nightborn recoiled, hissing as the light seared their smoky forms. Some dissipated entirely, retreating into the depths of the forest, while others tried to slink around the edges, seeking a way past the light's reach. Rowan could feel the strain of holding back the shadows, but they refused to give in. Step by step, they moved forward, pushing the Nightborn back with the force of the lantern's light. After what felt like hours, the darkness began to lift. The remaining Nightborn slithered away, defeated, their wisps of shadow dispersing into the underbrush. As dawn broke on the horizon, Rowan's shoulders sagged with relief, but their heart remained steady. They had faced the Nightborn, and won. As they returned to the forest's heart, Myra awaited them with a prideful gleam in her eyes. The other cats gathered around, looking at Rowan with reverence. "You did it," Myra said softly. "The Nightborn have been pushed back. The glow beetles are safe, and the forest's magic is secure, for now." Rowan nodded, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. Yet as they looked out across the trees, a strange feeling washed over them, something both serene and bittersweet. They realized that their bond with the forest was now stronger than ever, yet so was their duty. The stardust light within the star lantern would not fade, but it would always require someone to wield it. Rowan, Myra murmured, as if sensing their thoughts, "You've become a true guardian of the forest. The cats will look to you in times of need, and so will the magic that flows here." Rowan took a deep breath, feeling the weight of Myra's words. They understood, now more than ever, that they were no longer merely a visitor to this magical world. They were a part of it, its protector, its friend. And so, Rowan remained. Together with Myra, they watched over the forest of flying cats, ensuring that its magic thrived and that no shadow would dare encroach upon its borders again. And in the glow of the stardust lantern, they found their purpose, their life now woven into the very fabric of the enchanted woods, where cats flew like stars and where the night was filled with wonders untold.